Physical activity is defined as any bodily movement resulting from the contraction of skeletal muscles, which creates more energy expended than what would have been in your resting state. Fitness is more so a general term defined as one's ability to perform physical work. Physical work requires muscular strength, cardiorespiratory endurance, as well as flexibility. Optimum body composition is also necessary for the best fitness you can possibly have, which is a good balance of fats, fluids, proteins, and minerals within the body. Endurance is a measure of fitness, and it can be compartmentalized into two types. You have muscular endurance, which is basically an isolated muscle group able to perform repeated contractions. So like a bicep curl, which would be your bicep, as well as your brachialis and other muscles within that group that perform that specific movement. You also have cardiovascular endurance, which is more of a large muscle exercise. So it's involving way more muscle groups. So this is stuff like biking, cycling, swimming, stuff that requires more, which gets your cardiorespiratory system working for your whole body. Aerobic training has many benefits for our bodies, which is decreased resting heart rate, decreased blood pressure when we're just going about our day, which those things together result in less stress in our heart overall. Aerobic training also increases our stroke volume within our heart, which is how much blood our heart can pump with each contraction, as well as cardiac output, which is how much blood our heart can contract with each minute of our body, within our bodies, And that basically just leads to a more efficient heart, and a more efficient heart leads to longevity. Sitting too much basically results in what would be the opposite of optimum aerobic activity within our bodies throughout the day. So that would be increased heart rate resting, increased blood pressure, decreased stroke volume, decreased cardiac output, and you're also going to have muscle atrophy, which is basically your muscles diminishing from lack of use, as well as stiffer joints from lack of use. A way to decrease these effects is coming up with a routine that works for you. So it can be something like swimming, bicycling, and you can also start with easier activities and progress to higher ones so you don't put too much stress on your body. So it can be something as simple as walking, just taking a nice walk throughout the day, or just shooting some hoops, going towards a basketball rim and just shooting some hoops. And as those activities start to feel easier, you can progress. You can start playing basketball games. You can start going on a nice jog or a nice hike uphill or cycling. The goal is to progress once something feels too easy, but also not putting too much stress in your body. So trying to find that middle ground for yourself. When it comes to the older population, there are certain precautions we must keep in mind when we're coming up with some sort of routine for them. An important thing to consider when coming up with an exercise program for the older population would be to understand what their limitations are, what pre-existing conditions they might have as they are, going through these things. Like, do they have chronic high blood pressure already? Do they have something much more serious like cardiopulmonary disease of any type, or even cancer? Another thing to consider is what medications they may be on for any of those types of things, and how those medications might react with the body if it's being put through too much physical stress. Also understanding that with age, the production of the heart decreases, so maximum cardiac output, stroke volume, just those general maximum heart rate factors must be put into consideration, so we must progress these activities very carefully. Another thing to consider, that our fast twitch muscles decrease with age, or those fibers that are basically used for explosive activities, like standing up and sitting down. Well, more so standing up, because that generates power, that requires power, or just like pushing an object. Those things are from our fast twitch muscles. As like running and more kind of smoother, streamlined movements that don't we don't need such a burst of activity. Those are our slow twitch muscles. Those kind of stay the same as we get older, but what we need for explosive activities, those decrease. So we want to actually implement those types of activities into our exercise program to help maintain that as much as we can, but without putting too much in such a short amount of time to where that could hurt them, because older folks are lacking that as they get older. Another precaution to keep in mind is our nervous systems. Those actually also get a little bit slower in our reaction time as we get older. So we want to kind of do stuff that might help maintain that, and again with also monitoring that. So tennis, badminton, even something like ping pong, that'd be good to use and implement into our activities to help keep older folks sharp. However, we don't want to put them through risky activities, such as something that's going to require them to be quick, because if there's something dangerous like football, which requires our nervous system to be on point, there's a lot on the line. If you're not very sharp in any moment's notice, you can get tackled. And I'm just naming an example of something dangerous that requires your nervous system to be on point. So we want to exercise that nervous system without putting too much on the line. So again, like tennis, ping pong, badminton, something that can help keep that nervous system sharp without so much of the risk.